friends, right there was your worst case scenario playing out. Morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, both come highly recommended. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. I'm how can you be simultaneously stunned and yet not the slightest bit surprised? That's where I am. The one thing that was going to hurt this team more than anything else was exactly what happened, was that Ben Cherington would be able to sweet talk / scapegoat his way into sticking around, even for another day, never mind that it looks at least somewhat likely that he'll stick for the remainder of the 2025 season. But that's what happened. Mr. quote, accountable together, end quote, meaning that he and Derek Shelton were going to get through this season side by side. And if it goes well, by golly, we're accountable. If it doesn't go well, it was his fault. It was his fault. Now, if you're a regular listener of this program, if you read my stuff, you'll know that I wasn't exactly opposed to Shelton being fired. There can be multiple things going wrong when the team is 12-26 and in year 6 of being pretty much that team the whole way through. Shelton had significant problems as a manager. He deserved to be fired. Cherington deserves it that much more. And he always has, and I've been consistent about that. Because for all the various bad things that you can say about Shelton's work, you can't say that Shelton said, hey, this Alexander Canario, we got to go get this one. And when we do, by God, I hope he hits 122 so I can bat him 5th in St. Louis. I've been telling you all along, this stuff doesn't happen at the manager level. It doesn't happen at the manager / bench coach level now that we're going to be bringing Don Kelly into this whole scenario. The GM, surrounded by his army of white-collared shirts, convinced themselves that Canario's just due. You know, it's just coming from him. A matter of time till the explosion. And, you know, the explosion is going to come tonight at Busch Stadium. Because so-and-so random guy from the Cardinals throws a spin rate of XXX% or number of spins, something, and also has a really dark vibe on the moon watch. And this is, I'm telling you, him and Canario, this is it. This is it for him. He is absolutely not going to go 0 for 4 with a K right before he goes 0 for 4 with a K. But you know what? We're going to ride with analytics. We're going to do it the whole way. All right? Cherington is, in the history of Major League Baseball, the 6th worst general manager by way of winning percentage. 6th worst of all time with that .410 winning percentage, which, by the way, ain't going upward. So he could keep climbing this list. You want analytics? You want data? We've got data. Cherington has invested $69 million to draft 90 players, another $26 million to sign 108 international free agents. What he has to show for Bob Nutting's $95 million over 5 years is Paul Skeens. He has 2 injured guys who are part of the team, Jarrett Jones, Nick Gonzalez. And then he's got Henry Davis and Carmen Mlodzinski. And then that's the end of it. What's more, if you go through the minor league system, there's no one hitting above the A-ball level. And 14 of the team's top 30 prospects, according to Baseball America, are hitters. Stop and think about that one for a second. Davis himself should get somebody at some level of this fired like a year ago. He's a number 1 overall pick. And he is currently the number 3 catcher in the organization. Don't be fooled by him backing up right now. If Andy Rodriguez hadn't gotten hurt, Henry'd still be in Indy. Henry is now batting 133. Henry is now 25 years old. Henry's about 3 or 4 months away from losing prospect status. Number 1 overall. Which trades do you want to talk about? Brian Dela Cruz, the guy that was carrying the team to playoff glory last summer, only to get DFA'd twice in the subsequent months? How about Spencer Horwitz for Luis Ortiz? Luis, good dude, good pitcher, is shining right now in the Cleveland rotation. Had one rough start, it's been really solid since then. Horwitz hasn't been seen because he's been recovering from, say it with me, a chronic wrist issue. The good news is his rehab stint so far between Altoona and Indianapolis, he is 4 for 26. Can't wait to get that low-power platoon hitting first baseman back into the lineup. No, not back into the lineup for the first time. And then there's the ones that nobody remembers, the ones at the very beginning. They were supposed to represent the underpinning, the foundation of this whole rebuild. And there were assets for Cherington to sell off from a 2019 team that, by the way, is way better than the 2025 team. And I mean that still. Like, if you got all those guys back together, they would knock this one senseless. Starling Marte has resulted in 65 whole games spread out over 4 seasons from Liover Peguero. Josh Bell brought you some memorable blow-ups from Will Crow. Joe Musgrove, terrific starting pitcher, brought David Bednar, had a couple all-star seasons, and Endy. That's a far better return than the rest of this, but Musgrove has still maintained markedly higher value since then. Free agent acquisitions. Oh my goodness, where to start? Hey, you can say what you want about payroll, but nobody's forcing you, including Nutting, to go and put $5 million into Austin Hedges, or $4 million into Yoshi Tetsugo, or $5 million into Roberto Perez, or, Tommy Pham's out there now getting $4 million to bat 183, and he's playing every day because you don't have anybody pushing him, because there's nobody in the system in year 6. And yet somehow all of this feels more palatable than the things he says. I'm going to ask you nicely to listen to this, and listen to it like it matters, even though it's from Cherington. Every syllable of it. It's about the Pirates' bad start.
It's on all of us. It's on every person in the organization, but certainly from a baseball perspective, it starts with me. Everybody in our clubhouse is responsible. I believe we all need to do our jobs better, can do our jobs better. I believe we will. I don't think you have to squint too hard to see a stronger team on the field in 2025. I believe we have the players in the organization that will help us do that. I also believe we have players currently on the team who are capable of providing more. Also believe I certainly have to find ways to continue to make the roster better and support the team in different ways. So it's got to be all in. It's not on one person, that's on everybody, but it certainly starts with me.
Do you remember in college when you had to write essays? Maybe this was more of a high school thing, I should say. And you had to do a topic sentence and then an ending sentence that were pretty much the same. And then you just kind of filled up the middle with a bunch of crap. Okay, that's what this is. He will begin with, it's all on us, it's every person, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, it starts with me. Flash forward to the very end, and he says, but it certainly starts with me. Every other thing in here, all of the meat, points the finger squarely at everyone else because that's what he sees. That's what he believes. He actually thinks that he's making nothing other than the right decisions in every setting. And if that isn't insulting enough, he speaks this sentence, quote, I don't think you have to squint too hard to see a stronger team on the field in 2025. End quote. I've had a headache from squinting so hard since I heard that. When we come back, J1Q. If you're looking for a great dining experience, look no further than North Shore Tavern, located directly across Federal Street from PNC Park, next door to Mike's Beer Bar. North Shore Tavern is Pittsburgh's home for steak on a stone. Enjoy your steak finished on a hot lava stone in front of you where you ensure each piece is cooked to exactly your liking. Or try their rotating selection of entrees, hot sandwiches, salads, and burgers, all while enjoying the ambiance dedicated to the great players and history of the Pittsburgh Pirates all around you. Come see why everyone's talking about North Shore Tavern and steak on a stone.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragechek.org. That's gunstoragechek.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Mike, and if you'll forgive me, I'm having a little bit of a tough time reading it. Maybe I should squint a little harder. Mike says, DK, did anybody else watch that press conference? Get the feeling that Ben Cherington looked defeated. I've seen and heard lots of interviews from him over the past 5 years, and something seemed different this time. The vibe he gave off felt like he was chewed out by Bob Nutting a few minutes before the press conference began. I think he knows he's on borrowed time. Mike, our interpretations can vary, and I can respect yours as much as I hope you'll respect mine. I'm going to differ with you a little bit. But again, I'm not saying that you're wrong. Just sharing with you my own, which is what you asked for. I'm totally with you on the parts at the end of what you asked there about being chewed out by Nutting, maybe possibly having some sort of ultimatum attached to it, timeline, expectations, win goals, who knows? And I'm also with you about Cherington knowing that he's on borrowed time. And I'm working toward finding out a lot more for you about that in the days and weeks to come. But man, dude, that first part of what you said, no, not really. No, I don't think that registers. I don't think any of this registers. His belief in the numbers, his near religious subscription to the numbers overrides everything. And from what you say about hearing enough of his interviews, you'll know exactly what I'm saying when I say that. If he acquires a bad baseball player and he surrounds himself with all these analytics people, but he also creates a culture in which they understand that there's a certain thing that he wants to hear, then the whole thing is pure poison. And that's where I happen to think this has gotten. You can't say some of the specific things that Cherington has said, in particular over the past year and a half, and not have this problem. You can't watch endless losing and then just go for the old hidden vigorish. For those of you who go way back to Bob Prince, the Gunner, that was the Gunner's way of telling Pirates fans in his broadcasts that if things are going one way for a while, they're bound to go the other. Well, much as everybody loved the Gunner, people who actually gamble for a living will tell you never ever bet against a streak. So if you see a player just dying out there in the box or in the field or wherever, and it's never getting any better, and the overall body of work speaks way more to that than it does to whatever one geek might have told you about how he hits a changeup off a lefty in the third inning when there's a shadow 3/4 covering Busch Stadium. That's when you just believe your eyes, your eyes. And no, to more specifically answer the question that you asked, Mike, I didn't sense looking defeated. I just think he thinks we're all dumb. And that in some kind of twisted way that he feels sorry for us for not grasping all that wisdom that only he and all the white-collared shirts are privy to. You want to know what he sees when he squints? Listen to this, because for me, this was the cherry on top of the entire session. He was asked about winning on the margins, which was a phrase that was being used a lot down in Bradenton, both by Cherington and Shelton. And it was put out there to emphasize to all the players down there that they needed to be a lot better at fundamentals. And of course, they've had 2 months of just being horrific at fundamentals. And I don't even know that I'm exaggerating in using a word that strong. He said, and I'm going to quote again, "Okay, are we playing defense? Are we running the bases? By and large, we have done those things. Our team defense has been good, at least as far as our measurements are concerned. Our base running largely has been good. We haven't executed perfectly in every situation. We've had some combination of some difficult bullpen moments or bad luck bullpen moments, or maybe occasions when we didn't have our best guys, meaning injuries. Told you that was coming. Or our best guys were unavailable for whatever reason, and it cost us. So that could be winning on the margins, I suppose." Nestled somewhere within all the rest of that nonsense, he says that the defense has been, quote directly, good. He said that the base running, quoting directly, largely has been good. And then he sticks that finger in our faces again, at least according to our measurements. The owner's a problem. I never say otherwise. The payroll's a problem. I never say otherwise. This guy has got to go regardless. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. I have no earthly concept why you do. And I can't advise you strongly enough. Do not listen to the next one Monday. The sooner you stop listening to these, the sooner I'll stop making them. Until then, though, have a nice weekend.